Welcome to the show, folks. This is Wrestling Changed My Life. Here we go.
I felt like, just on cloud nine. Like I was just really happy. I was just really excited to go compete and just keep loving the sport. And then our coaches came in and they go into their room, and I saw on Instagram that, there was something from the NCAA saying, all national competitions are canceled. And I just remember saying to my coach, like, is this us?
We can endure anything and adapt and pivot and change. Wrestling gave us that ability.
I would say nothing in life has impacted me more than the things wrestling has taught me in terms of self-reflection, resilience.
Toughness. Some guys have it, some guys don't.
Adversity, 100%. How to pick myself up and be a man after I failed.
And everything that has shaped my life and where I'm at today would not be there without the values and basically the lessons I've learned through the sport of wrestling.
For me, wrestling saved my life because it allowed me to focus and channel my energy.
We're fortunate if you wrestled, because if you wrestled, natural talent helps, but it's 5% of the ingredient. It pales in comparison to heart and technique and effort.
It humbled me, taught me humility. Nothing can humble you more than wrestling. I think it's the learning to adapt, right? You learn how to adapt, you learn how to solve problems.
If I look back at my time I spent wrestling, if it gave me one thing more than anything else, it's mental toughness.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wrestling Changed My Life podcast. This is your host, Ryan Warner. My guest today is Anthony Rink, who was a senior at North Central College this year, which is a Division III school in the Chicago suburbs. Anthony was warming up at the Nationals, losing some weight the day before when they canceled the tournament due to COVID. And I wanted to get him on and talk about his perspective and his experience there. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I think you will as well. Fan of the Week goes to Dylan Potnack, representing Ironworkers Local 498. Thank you for tuning in, my friend. I appreciate it. Folks, this episode is brought to you by Assembly Fall, which is an audio documentary going live next Tuesday. It's on an epic 2001 Illinois high school state finals match between Eric Tannenbaum, who is 86-0, and Matt Kucala. If you want an early release of the documentary, please text IHSA to 555-888. Text IHSA to 555-888, and I'll send you an early version of the documentary before it comes out. That's it, folks. Let's give it up for Anthony Rink. First time we've ever met right now. You senior at North Central. You're coming, maybe you already graduated, I assume?
Yep, just graduated this spring.
So we're talking because of the absolutely horrific thing that happened to the world, but let's focus on our world, to the wrestlers who didn't get their last shot. You were one of those cats. Going into the Division III Nationals this year, you were undefeated in the postseason. Before we get there, give us a 30-second, 2-minute commercial on your career and how you got to North Central up to this year.
Just starting at college, kind of.
No, give us from the beginning. How long you been wrestling? How'd you get into it? That kind of thing.
Yeah. So, I started Kids Club. I was an IKWF kid. Actually, my uncle, kind of ran the program as the Brawlers Wrestling Club. So I was part of that going in. And then high school, just a 1A guy. So small high school. And finally, senior year, finally made the state finals and did not go my way, to say the least. It's not very fun getting pinned in the state finals in front of however many people. But, I still look back on it as probably one of the most fun experiences I've had throughout my wrestling career, being in the, Illinois state finals. I don't know, might be a little biased, but that state finals tournament is one of the best by far.
I was just talking to someone about the Grand March this morning, dude. I go, talk to me about the Illinois Grand March. And it's
the best.
Oh my God.
It's so cool. And I'm actually going to end up coaching now too. So I'm actually excited, hopefully get back in there just in a tux.
Fuck yeah.
But,
so you get to North Central. Did you have plans on wrestling at college when you left high school?
Oh yeah, for sure. I really loved it all through high school, and I had big plans for myself. But like most college or most high schoolers, I wanted to get on the scene, go D1 somewhere. It's pretty competitive for wrestling to actually have those plans come through, and they didn't. So went to North Central, and maybe I wasn't as pumped up about being Division III at first, But, you know, now graduating and the way my life's set up now, like, it ended up being probably the best decision and the best choice I could have made. Just as far as like the coaches, the way they supported me, and just my entire experience at North Central, like, really made me to the man I am today. And, you know, I just couldn't be more grateful that things ended up working out the way they did.
What do you think the
Honestly.
biggest difference between now versus your freshman year is mentally for you, emotionally?
Mentally, emotionally, well, the first thing that comes up for me is usually my weight, because I came into college as a 125 pounder. Probably took a few years off my coach's life just stressing him out with my weight management. But as far as like
What did you go this
emotionally,
year?
and
149?
yeah, I was our 149 pounder this year, so it was quite the jump. Yeah, after my freshman year, I told my coach I'm not cutting weight ever again, and I still did this year. Like, I'm probably like 165, but
Right.
yeah, we had some fun with that for sure. But I mean, it's crazy how much you kind of grow through, especially 4 years of college. But I would say, you know, emotionally and mentally, like, my biggest change from freshman to senior year was honestly just how much I really loved wrestling. Like, I think everyone develops and matures, like, as far as like you figure out what works for you, competing wise, diet wise, training wise. But like, everyone gets better at that stuff. But I think what was really unique for me in my experience was like, I just kept falling more and more in love with the sport, like, every year. And I think, like, if you look at the people that have the most success in anything, like, it's because they love it. And that was like the hugest jump for me. I think, like, every year I just like loved it more and more and more, like, wanted to be in the room more, like, listening to podcasts, specifically yours. Like, after my morning workout, I would always listen to your podcast, man. It was so awesome hearing all those different perspectives and just how freaking awesome our sport is. So
I
yeah, I would say
appreciate
that's the
that,
biggest
dude.
thing.
Thank you for
Heck yeah.
tuning in. Appreciate
Heck
it.
yeah, man.
That's I mean, man, you're getting me excited just because you can tell you really do love it, and knowing that you're going to be coaching, you're going to do a lot of good in the world and impact a lot of kids.
Heck yeah.
Where will you be coaching at?
Manuka High School. So
Okay.
right in Shanahan there, yeah. Kind of splits the difference between Naperville and where I'm at right now, Kankakee.
That's a Manuka. You said Manuka, right?
Yep.
That's a powerhouse. They used to
Oh,
win a
yeah.
couple titles, right?
Oh yeah, yep. And actually, so Rudiger, their head coach, just retired, and so now we got a new head coach, and I'm coming in too. So we're just looking to keep doing big things over there at Manuka, and I couldn't be more pumped up to, you know, work with what they got going on. It's definitely the place to be. Big things coming from Manuka High School.
Who's the new head coach?
Mike Kimberlin.
Don't know
Mike
that name.
Kimberlin, he wrestled at Northwestern actually, and he was a Bishop Mack kid. And actually, you know, I've known him since I was growing up, so yeah, just kind of have a good connection there already too with that. So,
dude, Bishop Mack, I forgot
Yeah.
that school was there. Mike Ryan
Yeah.
for Bishop Mack. He knocked me out of
Mikey
the
Ryan.
dude. In my junior year, we met in the first round of it was 2 divisions.
Yeah.
And he beat me 5-4. Luckily, he went on though, and I was able to get pulled back in the wrestlebacks. But
Yeah.
he's
a
doing big things
stud.
now. He is a
Yeah.
stud, dude.
Oh yeah. Yep. I know him really well. His dad lives right down the street and everything. So it's crazy.
Small world, man.
It really is, especially with the wrestling community.
So you said that's where you went with Bishop Mack, or no?
No, I went to Herscher, but
Herscher, okay.
I train a lot at Bishop Mack, like in the summers and stuff. I'm really close because that's where our kids club was too. So
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah, yep, close ties there for sure.
And so how did we're going to zoom in on your senior year of college. First 3 years of college, you're battling, you're loving wrestling, you're kind of finding your weight. What clicked for you this year?
I would actually say one of the biggest things that really came through for me this year, well, fall semester was really a lot of hurdles to go through. Kind of the beauty of being a D3 athlete is, you know, I had to student teach actually my fall semester with wrestling. So, I mean, it was just pretty intense as far as scheduling and getting everything in, still working out twice a day, dieting, everything that it takes to be a national champ. But on top of that, having a full-time job student teaching. So that was really a lot. And so when second semester hit, you know, is definitely a load off, and I really appreciated the sport a lot more, and I was just really able to focus. So that was one huge thing. But secondly, I would say we had I mean, Joe's always been awesome as our head coach, but we actually brought in a guy named Coach Cook, and I mean, he really transformed my life and impacted me in a lot of positive ways, like just dealing with adversity, having a competitive response to, you know, anything and everything. And I mean, he was just huge for me as far as developing, you know, just technically in wrestling, but also more importantly, like mentally, like we would have so many mental talks after, like our 5 a.m., 6 a.m. rolls. And I mean, he was just a huge, huge factor for me in my development this year for my senior year, luckily.
You said a word or a phrase I haven't heard before. I like it. Competitive response. What was it? What was the situation when that really came to fruition for you?
That was actually a huge focus for me. And one thing I love about my head coach, Joe, is like, he'll be brutally honest with me. And I'm someone where, like, even if you walk in my bedroom, you're like, everything's got to be perfect as far as, where everything's at. I'm kind of OCD with everything. And that was kind of one of my downfalls in competing, is if something didn't go perfect, everything kind of fell apart with me. So one thing we really focused on this year was just having a competitive response when things aren't going your way. And it doesn't matter if, you give up a takedown early, or like your girlfriend dumps you, or like anything in life goes wrong. Like, just have a competitive response to it and go and do what you're trained to do, and just enjoy that process of, just competing always. It really shouldn't matter what happens to you. Just deal with the circumstances and, control what you can control.
And it sounds like that had a big impact, because you mentioned at the conference tournament, and then the regional for Division III is really, it's gotten a lot tougher over the years. It's so much bigger now.
Go. Yeah.
Right. So talk to us about your conference tournament and then the regional, and kind of what, obviously the buildup here is that you got to the D3 Nationals. They pulled the rug out from under you. But I think it was even more impactful because you were on such a run there at the end of the season. How did the conference go and the regional go?
Yeah, so the conference was kind of like my breakthrough, just because in the finals I had to beat a kid that's probably beat me like 3 or 4 times, pinned me 3 times, majored me at the beginning of the year when I was student teaching. And I mean, so it was a huge jump for me. But I just remember, like, I mean, I was training hard and I was kind of just really hit my own. And I remember talking to Coach Cook one morning after our practice, and I was like, honestly, I was just more free, and I was just like, I honestly don't even care if I go on and win like conference right now. I was like, I'm having so much fun at practice. Like, my weight's finally good. Like, just everything, like, I'm just enjoying it so much. I was like, I really don't care. And actually the question that really sparked all that, I forget what book I was reading, but it basically said, like, if everything's taken away from you, like all of your accomplishments, money, everything, like, who are you at the end of the day? And like, you get asked that, and I didn't have a good answer for it. And so I just thought about it all week, and it was just so freeing to compete with like that question of mine. Like, I'm someone that's, I'm a man of faith. I have, tremendous family around me, a support system. And no matter what happens, like, I always have that stuff. Like, I'm always the same man, no matter what happens. So for me, like, just, it was really all mental and just belief. Like, that really was the big difference. Like, I still trained right. I dieted right. Everything was the same, but I don't know. I just went into that conference tournament a lot more free, and went into that finals match with the kid, and I didn't really care like if I won or lose. I was just so process focused and just excited to wrestle him, and ended up,
what was the score?
I majored him actually like 12-3.
Stop it. Oh my God.
It was, I mean, it's crazy how much just the mental side of the sport ends up pulling through, because I wasn't much different than I had been through the entirety of my career, but it was just a relaxed, calm, like, just believing in what my coaches were telling me and being coachable and just enjoying it. Like, I loved it.
Isn't that amazing? How not one little, but, a good week spent in self-exploration, and you can just unlock this potential. It's like, how much else is out there?
It's seriously so insane. And, sometimes I think back and think maybe it's lucky, but, I also had Coach Joe and Coach Cook on me all year, just harping, like, their belief in me, like, they believed in me way more than I believed in myself, which I also think is huge. But
yeah, it's
just crazy how it all clicked there finally at the end. And I was actually able to, wrestle as well as I was probably always able to, but it was just all mental. And it's crazy.
And it's even more important that you learn that lesson of, if you lose everything, what do you have? Because you did lose everything. Like, everything was taken from you. Like,
yeah.
At that point in time, if someone would have said to you, bro, you're going to make it to Friday morning at Cedar Falls and you're not going to wrestle, you would have said either I'm dead, my family's dead, something seriously wrong. Like, you couldn't even imagine that scenario.
Yeah. And that's actually something funny that I tell people too, because like, when it was finally all said and done, I was like, well, what better way to practice what you preach now? Like, if they actually end up calling it, like, what the heck, man? And yeah, it was definitely rough, but I don't know. dig into the regional first before we get to the national
let's hit the
stuff?
regional too. Absolutely.
All right, man. So obviously off that big conference win, we're rocking and rolling, going to the regional, and top 3 make it out. So it's super competitive.
How big's the bracket?
Probably like 16 or 18 kids,
it's big.
I think, something like that. Yeah, it's pretty big. And we're in the Iowa regional too, with like Loris and all Wartburg and all those good Iowa schools. So you make it out of our regional, you're sitting pretty for nationals for sure. And so
I didn't realize you were in that one, because my brother wrestled at Co. A lot of my friends wrestle or coach at Co. So that's the toughest one.
Yes.
I didn't know that. Okay, so you go into that. Are you seeded at all, or?
I was the 4 seed.
Okay.
I was a 4 seed, so I matched up with the number 1 seed in the semifinals, who he hadn't lost in Division III all year. And I was actually losing 4-2 going into the third period. He picks down, escapes. He has riding time and everything. And I get like a takedown with a minute left. And just, again, God bless Coach Cook, because we're so ingrained, like, tire guys out from bottom. And then when we get on top in the third period, like, they're not going to be able to stop us. So I locked up the tilt of my life, man, and I turned him over for 4 and rode that thing out. Oh, yeah.
Let's go, baby.
Every time I watch the video, I still get goosebumps. It was awesome for sure.
Tell me he was from Wartburg. Tell me
he was from
Wartburg.
Central. He is from Central.
All
man.
right. That still makes it good, but it made me a little bit sweeter if it was someone from Wartburg.
Yeah.
Dude, that's sweet, though. So you hit that. You got to be on the high of your life after that match.
Yeah. I mean, it was so surreal, and like going back and watching it, you still get goosebumps. But like, I'll never forget, like finally watching the clock tick down, and just that feeling of just, I don't know, just joy, just a lifetime of work just finally coming to fruition. Like, finally got it done. And our crowd's right there in the front row going crazy. I'm flexing on them and everything, which is totally not my character to do. So I mean, the emotions were high and the coaches were pumped up. It was a memory for sure that be awesome to look back on forever.
You were hitting new levels every week back then, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. It was the time.
Who'd you have in the finals?
So then in the finals, I actually had this kid from Loris who also hadn't lost yet in Division III. I guess he's like a JUCO national champ or something. My coaches didn't tell me that till after the match. But it was actually weird. Like, the finals match, like, I didn't care about as much, like, just because, like, you qualify and, like, I'm going to keep doing the same thing anyways. And it was a super tight match. I won like 4-1. And actually, it's a funny story. My training partner, like, he came up to me after the match. He's like, dude, I thought you lost. Cause when I went back to the room after, I was like, I yelled something, and he's like, dude, I thought you lost. I was like, no, I just wasn't happy with the way I won. Like, I wanted to score points, keep it going, but
right.
I'm pretty self-critical like that sometimes, I guess.
Dude, Anthony Rink rolled through the regional. They weren't ready for him. So then it's 2 weeks in between, right? Or a week in between?
Yeah, it's like a week and a half, pretty much. We left, like, you have a week of training, and then that Wednesday, we were on the road. We were there. Yeah.
Okay. So a week before, we're feeling good. Nothing's happened yet. And then the following week is when the NBA was canceled, right? Because that was like the Tuesday. Do
you remember? It all happened so fast. I think it might have happened. Yeah.
Because Tuesday was – because the week in between D3s and your nationals, the week between the D3 regional and the D3 nationals was the Big Ten. So my brother and I were out there. We got back Sunday night, and then like Tuesday, they said Division I wrestling still going on, no fans. Wednesday they said no Division I. Then the NBA was canceled that night, and I remember distinctly I was coming out of a Beat the Streets board meeting, and I was at a bar, and I looked at the TV, and they said the NBA was canceled. I'm like, oh shit!
That's when you kind of realize things aren't going good.
But even then, I thought they were going to let you guys go because you were already there, right?
I mean, yeah, and that was the worst part about it. Like, we got there Wednesday, finally walk into the arena. Like, we practiced there for 2 days. Like, everyone's on the mats. Like, everyone's there already. Like,
same
we were
fucking
there training.
People.
Same people. Like, we don't need fans in there. Like, just let us wrestle the tournament. Like, we're there, dude. We're ready to go. And that was probably the worst part about it. Like, actually being there, like, smelling the mats, feeling the mats, like, just fresh NCAA stuff everywhere. Like, it was finally real. Like, it was there. And I mean, I was already down to weight pretty much too. Like, we were just ready to go.
When'd you find out?
Yeah, so it was pretty surreal. Like, I just remember we got Thursday morning, we did our morning workout there, come back. I mean, I can even eat breakfast. Like, my weight was super good. I just remember sitting in the hotel lobby just thinking, like, man, how can life get much better than this? Like, finally senior year, I'm about to go, do what I said I've always going to do since, getting second in high school. It didn't sit well with me. So, the next best thing was go be a national champ. And I felt like, just on cloud nine, like I was just really happy. I was just really excited to go compete and just keep loving the sport. And then our coaches came in and they go into the room, and I saw on Instagram that, there was something from the NCAA saying, all national competitions are canceled. And I just remember saying to my coach, like, is this us? And then like we get the text that like meet in their room, and like you just knew walking in the room, like looking at your coaches. And I'll never forget Coach Cook just kind of looking down and saying, like, I don't really know what to say, but they're calling it, like, that's it. And I think I just kind of broke down. I probably had like some inhumane sounds just coming from my body. Like, I walked in the hallway, like I couldn't stay in the room, like just kind of broke down. I know my dad called me. I couldn't even like talk. Like, it was just like, it hit pretty hard initially. Like, it's kind of a downer to talk about. I don't even like talking about it just because it was so, I mean, a lot worse things probably happened to a lot of other people. But as far as, our wrestling world goes, like it was a big deal. It definitely sucked. So.
And I don't know what kind of, if you've had family members die, but if not, that's probably the most painful thing you've ever experienced in your life up until that point.
It's definitely up there. And actually, I was thinking before I came on here, it's like just kind of reflecting on my careers. It's like high school, losing the state finals, like that was traumatic in its own right. Like, I was probably doing the same thing, like in Assembly Hall, like just broken down, crying, saying, and now this happens, except there was just nothing I could do. Like, it was way worse because like it was not in my control at all. Like, there was literally just nothing I could do about it. And that was pretty hard to deal with initially. And you get a little mad and angry at the world, like, why me? Why my senior year? Like, this and that. But it doesn't help anyone to think like that. And, I'm happy, I definitely have a more positive perspective on it all now. But initially it hit pretty hard for sure.
What could hit more hard? I mean, it's like, I heard someone say once, when you're outside of wrestling, it's a small part of your life, but when you're in it, it's the most important thing.
It's everything. It's everything. And especially when you're training like a national champ, like that's one of the most selfish things you can do. Like, but to be that good, you have to be pretty selfish. And so like, yeah, it was, that point in my life, it was everything.
Where were you seated,
I don't even think I was seated, actually, even despite winning the regional and everything, which is super
Call those
bizarre.
maniacs up, I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
right now.
actually, I had a prelim match even.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
that's
but
ridiculous.
It was all good. We liked our spot in the bracket. We were ready to rock and roll. It didn't matter who you had out in front of me. We were gonna go out there. We were hungry. We were ready to go.
And so, talk to me about the time after. Did you guys stay there that night or drive back right away?
Yeah, so once I got away from everyone right away, and then I think I sat in the sauna for a little bit because there's like a sauna in our hotel randomly, and then I just started running like around Cedar Rapids, just running everywhere. Like, got back to the hotel and like still didn't feel very good. Like, I almost felt sick, so I just ran again, just running all over the place. And then finally I get back and like my buddy Fleener's like, "Hey man, we're gonna go get some food. You hungry?" I was like, yeah. So, we had some cheeseburgers, some ice cream, and then all of a sudden you feel a little bit better. But yeah, we hung out, and then it was super weird too, because then you come back to campus and it's like, hey, you got to move out. And then, within 24 hours, it's like, I'm back home. I was supposed to be competing for a national title on Saturday night, and all of a sudden I'm back in my hometown in my house. It was a quick turnaround.
that Sunday morning has to be a weird feeling. You wake up at home in the bedroom there and you're like, what the heck, dude?
It was definitely weird. And I mean, like you said earlier too, like I was on such a roll, and then to just kind of have everything come crashing down, it was kind of, it was a lot. But luckily I've had a lot of time to kind of think back and reflect on everything. And, my coaching job popped up and everything. And, it's really easy to be down about it. But, I think I've kind of switched to the perspective that, what? The only thing I really missed out on was getting an NCAA plaque at the end of the year.
Yeah.
and getting the opportunity to compete. And if anything, it just speaks volumes about like how nothing in life is guaranteed, right? So it's such a great opportunity, you know, what a privilege it is just to be able to compete in the first place, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, now with my future student athletes, it's going to be a lot more easy to kind of relay that message to them with this experience. Like nothing but positive can really come out of it if you use it the right way. It doesn't really help anyone to be all down about it all the time. So
When especially someone who has as strong of emotional character as you do, and I can pick that up just from this conversation here. I mean, you're in the right place mentally. And like I said, I think I don't know if this happened to you for a reason, but man, as a coach, you're going to be able to relay that relay the lessons you've learned so much more effectively just because you turned a corner yourself there at midway through that season. And it's just, and you said something though, you're like, how grateful you were to compete. And I'm thinking,
yes.
what about the fact that you're grateful enough to like even go for that run in Cedar Rapids? Like, yeah, you're not like paralyzed or something, you know? It's like there's so many, you could take it down so many levels.
Oh
And
yeah,
that's not
for
the
sure.
point, but it's like, man, thank God you had the lessons through the sport earlier that semester, you know, before
Yeah.
things really turned.
Well, and that's what I even go back to too, is like just how much I loved it, how much I loved the process with it, because I even tell people this sometimes too. Like, so when I won that semifinal match at the regional, I went and I found my training partner who also qualified. And like the first thing I told him was like, hey man, we get to practice for 2 more weeks. Like, isn't that exciting? Like, so I was almost more pumped up that I got to go work out for 2 more weeks and like, hey, I just accomplished like a lifelong dream, you know? So it's like our headspace was definitely, you know, we were definitely in the right place with just loving the process and just enjoying the heck out of it, especially senior year. So,
dude, I'm excited for you. I'm excited
yeah, man.
I'm excited to know you for one, because you got your head on your shoulders. And dude, if I was as smart as you at your age, I don't even know what would have happened, dude. I'd to have a much better life. I tell you that, dude. And who do you attribute to having this sound kind of emotional base? Is it your parents, your faith, your family, coaches?
I mean, for sure, my mom and dad definitely, you know, they raised me the right way, pretty typical and everything. But I don't know, man. I've always just kind of been an old man as far as like I read a lot of books, like a lot of self-help books. I love listening to your podcast and just digging into all the perspectives, all the guests that you've had on here. And I'm seriously like, I'm not
I appreciate
just talking
it.
like it was seriously like part of my morning routine, seriously helped me a lot. And when I actually started listening to this podcast, that's when I realized like, hey, I relate to some of these, you know, I relate to Tom Brands, I relate to Tom Ryan, like when they're talking about, you know, all this stuff. So that definitely helped. But then just, I mean, at North Central, like Coach Joe and Coach Cook, like, man, they just really instilled like everything I'm about today. Like it's all because of them. This isn't me by any means. This is all them. And, you know, I definitely had a lot of lows throughout my career and they helped me through it, and they've given me a lot of perspective and really made me the man I am today. So, I mean, it's all thanks to them for sure.
Indeed. It takes a village. Now, what books have you read lately, man? If you look at my library, you'd think I'm a self-help like fan or something. And I love reading it. What are a couple you've read that you like?
Yeah, so I love Chop Wood, Carry Water. That's like one of my all-time favorites. And that's what I read right before conference. That's actually the book that I was thinking about. Chop Wood, Carry Water is phenomenal. Just really digs into like just loving what you do, loving the process type stuff. And then recently just kind of, you know, digging into, you know, my first real job. So I read How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, I love that.
Effective Immediately.
Wait, are you going into sales?
No, that's what everyone thinks by the books I read.
Dude,
no,
I'm
just
in
gonna
sales.
be an
You could
English
fucking
teacher.
kill it in sales, dude. That's the first book I read when I got into sales. I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah,
I
I love that book though. I've read it twice and highlighted through it. It's phenomenal.
Man, I wish
And it's
I could
like,
remember some of them.
well,
Some
it's
of the
just
principles.
Yeah, I just love about that book though too is like I think sometimes you can read those books and think like, I don't know, it's almost disingenuine, like, oh, here's the tricks to make people like you kind of thing, where it's like, no, like the key to being genuine is being genuine, you know, like there's no secret about it. But yeah, I definitely love that book.
Here's what to your point exactly. One of the each chapter has like a principle.
Yep.
One of them was there's no sweeter sound to another person than their own name, which if you can remember someone's name, that's incredible. And then
absolutely.
The other one I always loved was talk in terms of the other person's wants.
Yes.
You know, like talk about what they're interested in. And what is every person interested in? Their kids. That's like the easiest way.
Absolutely.
Man, so I'm excited for you, man. This is going to be a long lasting friendship. I hope at least.
Absolutely. Sounds good to me.
Man, so that chop would carry water. I think Lee Roper actually recommended that, and
So good.
I've never read it.
Easy read, short chapters and everything, but
Is it? Okay.
I mean, so many things that I do with my daily life to life stuff, I mean, comes from that book, as far as like kind of setting up life purpose stuff, like just critically analyzing and reflecting on, who you are and what you're about. I mean, it's deep stuff.
What's your workout regime like these days?
Pretty honestly, so it's so weird coming back from nationals. I got pretty fat for a while, for a week, but I just realized, like, man, I like being in shape. I like being healthy. So I still train the same as I did every summer of college, lift in the morning. And then we have like 3 sections of wrestling mat. So we roll that out in the backyard, and we've been getting our wrestling workouts in too.
Who's all coming in for those?
So I've got 2 younger brothers, and then we have this kid named Blaine Christie. He's still in high school, but we work out with him too. He's a little stud. Watch out for him. Bishop Max, next state champ.
Let's go, dude. So you're still going at it like nothing's changed.
Oh yeah. I mean, day to day has not changed a whole lot over here. We didn't have it going for a while, and I was losing my mind. I had to get back on the mat, so we made it happen.
Well, I'm excited to have made the acquaintance. I'm glad we could get this story out. And it was moving, man. I was about to tear up a couple of times because I could tell you were, and I was ready to go right there with you if we had to. Because I think I love Division III, and it's just the truest form of the sport. People are doing it for the love, and
absolutely.
The teams in Division III are a good team is so close. Like the bond of
that, yeah,
it's incredible.
It is. I mean, those are relationships that I'll have for a lifetime. I still keep in touch with all those guys, and especially my coaches. It's a special thing, especially there at North Central, man. I love those guys to death. So it's awesome.
As chiseled as you're looking right now, I'm thinking we got to get you in a freestyle tournament and a UFC fight, something, dog. Let's get you back.
Hey, I'm still ready to go. That's why I said I was jealous about the event that's coming up there at the Illinois RTC, because I was like, hey, man, I'll compete. Maybe I need to call someone out. Let's go.
Dude, call them out. Dude,
I don't even know who I would, but
I'd love to see a little D3 national championship. Whoever was the number one.
Let's go.
Dude, I could see
let's
that.
Set it up. Let's set it up. I'm ready to go. I'm a little above my weight class nowadays, but
what are you right now? Like 165?
Strong. Yeah, like 165. So not too bad. Still dieting, still staying in shape. I like feeling good, I guess, for now.
What's the diet consist of?
Actually, the girl I'm talking to right now makes fun of me so much. She's like, all you eat is chicken and eggs, and it's true. Just eggs and chicken, and I don't eat a whole lot of green stuff actually, but yeah.
She'll be thankful one day that you're all
right. Yeah, I try to
trim.
Stay in shape for her, and I get shit for eating the same thing every day. So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, it's been an honor, and I really mean that. I'm glad we could sync up. Thanks for your patience today. I'm really excited to get this out. I know it's going to resonate with a lot of people.
All right, sweet. Thanks for having me on, man. It's a blast.
And all great things must come to an end. If you want to hear more from the podcast, text WRESTLE to 555-888. That's WRESTLE to 555-888. You can also find us on Instagram, Wrestling Changed My Life, Twitter, Ryan_N_Warner, as well as our website, WrestlingChangedMyLife.com. Take care, y'all. Take care, y'all. Take care, y'all.